What's up, bag lovers? Did you buy an A5, S5, or RS5 Sportback and upgrade to the Bang & Olufsen sound system only to find out that it wasn't as bassy as you thought? Well, if so, then this might be the video for you, because I'm going to walk you through how I upgraded my 6-inch sub just to get a little bit more out of it. And it makes a good enough difference to where I'm okay not throwing a bigger sub in there, at least for now. Tools you're going to need: go find your 10mm, use a socket extension, socket, T20, and this is for the screws around the outside of the sub. This is holding the sub box in place along with one other piece. And a soldering iron, just so you can remove the previous wiring without cutting them, because they're already pretty short. If you can see here, you don't have a lot of extra wire to play with. So that might be a helpful top tip. Alright, so our sub lives in here. Lift this up where your spare tire is, remove this piece, pull out the spare. Beneath the spare, you'll see this box here, and this is where the sub lives. Alright, so to get this thing out of here, first, I'm going to loosen this thing up. Alright, so step one is remove this, then remove this bolt and this bolt using your 10mm. Once those bolts are removed, we're going to remove this clip here, and that's going to allow us to release the wires that are connected to the sub and pull the whole box out. So there's just this little red tab you pull out, then you push down, and that's it. Comes right out. Alright, so next you're going to use a T20 Torx, and you're going to remove these bolts that are in around the speaker. In this case, you'll be working with the stock paper speaker, which I no longer have, so I'm just showing you how to remove these, and we'll move on to the next step. Once those are removed, the speaker should come out pretty easily. The one thing you have to be careful for is just notice these wires kind of running in here. So you can see I've got the wires connected. This is a dual voice coil speaker. I'll provide the link in the description of the current model of what you can use here. It's a Kicker Comp RT 2 ohm, and this is how I have it wired up. So on this side I've got green and black, on this side I've got yellow and orange. I did a bunch of research to try and figure this out, but in the end it won't work if it's wired backwards. Alright, on this side we've got green to red and black to black, and on this side we've got orange to black and yellow to red. As you can see, a more substantial magnet on the back, much better base cone here, better material around the outside. I don't know all the technical terms. The other thing is, you'll notice in here there's a whole bunch of polyfill. Pick it up at a hobby shop somewhere, and essentially what this does is help increase the the airspace in the box, and gives you a little bit more dynamic range from the subwoofer. Things to note, when you buy this kicker comp, it will likely have a plastic ring around the outside, which I just broke and took off. The holes were already drilled. They lined up more or less with where the stock ones were, and I swapped out the speakers. Now, the one thing that's worth noting, and this is why you're going to need to have the soldering gun, is these speakers or these wires originally were soldered onto the speaker that was already in there. So you could cut them off, strip them back, and just reuse them. But I had a soldering iron and the comfort level of using it, so I just soldered, heated up the solder, removed the wire, and it was done. No cutting, no stripping back of the wire, and it kept all the strands together, and then I just put that back in. So when you're done, it all goes back in reverse. It's pretty straightforward. I think this is a pretty easy way to go. As far as reviews go, I mean, it's better than it was stock. Will take a little bit of time. Have the subwoofer break in. This isn't a huge subwoofer. This isn't gonna make a giant difference. It's gonna make a subtle difference, but a difference enough that you're gonna be able to hear things pick up. Some of the differences are, this is 2 ohm. So if you go into your settings on the Bang & Olufsen radio and you go to the subwoofer part and make sure you crank that all the way up, that just runs more power to the speaker. It can definitely handle it. So I usually dial that up and then adjust my bass very little. Because this is 2 ohm, it will keep up with the rest of the sound system. For lack of a better term, it'll get louder faster than the stock speaker did. You might ask yourself, Jeremy, why did you upgrade the sub and keep the same size? Well, for me, I just wanted to make sure I could get a little bit more bass out of the system I already had without too much effort, and without impacting any of the storage space that I had. Because after all, I bought a Sportback so I could have a little bit more utility in my vehicle. This is a really short tutorial. Hope it helped.